Thanks, Tim, and good to be back here with Shaq FA to give a bit of an update on what we've been doing post IPO in February. A bit like everyone, I guess we listed in February at a pretty inopportune time, and have been riding the influence of what's been happening on small caps over the last little period. But this is a good chance to talk about our technology and about our exploration pipeline. We haven't been sitting on our hands since we listed. We've had 3 rigs on drilling some of our projects, some of our targets that have been generated from the artificial intelligence that we use to apply to our technology. We have been out there with our clients, working very hard with Deutsche Rostoff and Prime Lithium, 2 groups that have been supporting us as not only as shareholders and clients, looking at new ways to open up new lithium prospects in Western Australia. And also generating projects with one of our clients, Barton Gold in South Australia, who've been very excited about the new thinking we've brought to prospectivity for gold and copper in a mature exploration area. But a lot of our technology, and I will dwell on that a bit today. If I can go to the next slide. Yep, and the next slide. So you can see where we're tightly held. We've got good support from many of our clients. I mentioned Deutsche Rostoff and Prime Lithium as a client, but DGO now taken over by Gold Road, and BHP Ventures are in there. We do think that once the market's paying attention to us, the tightly held structure will mean that our good news flow that we have coming up from all those exploration holes that we've drilled over the last 3 months, and we'll be releasing over the next next quarter, next 3 or 4 months, will get a lot of attention in the market. We're sitting on a lot of cash at the moment as well, so we won't be going back anytime soon. And it gives us an opportunity to be able to process those results and increase the revenue flow we're getting from our client base on the technology side. For those who are new to the story, we do combine a technology where we generate cash. We generated 2 million in our first calendar year, and then looking to improve upon that as we go forward with the clients that we've generated. If I can go to the next slide. I guess SensOre is still looking at these big thematics that are coming through, particularly on battery and critical minerals. We know that we're going to have to do things differently to be able to supply the demands for copper, lithium, nickel, and cobalt. The companies that work with us are looking for those new ideas. We think there's a lot more to be discovered in Australia, particularly WA, South Australia, and Queensland. We think the opportunity exists in near mine environments undercover where people have found it difficult to target before by using new data and approaches. We're also looking at critical mineral supply, reorientation of global supply chains to more friendly jurisdictions. I've been over in the US for PDAC and marketing in North America. There's a lot of appetite there. There's a lot of funding for new approaches and for exploration activity and technologies like ours. I've seen the appetite for it in the PDAC arena with some of the big players such as Sequent and Index, really generating significant revenue flows from the majors and mid-tiers and the new generation of companies that have just listed, looking for that edge in the exploration space. You want to go to the next slide? I mentioned before about our technology, and it's important to understand that our approach is big data. It is about organising all of Western Australia's available geoscience information and making it available to our clients and being able to provide targeting services to them. When we generate targets and reveal the information that we have over people's area, our clients are generally amazed. They want to get access to it. They want to look at those new interps. I mentioned Barton Gold before, but we opened up new areas of prospectivity within their tenement package that they hadn't considered. And when they reviewed that information, they saw it as an exciting opportunity to be able to target on those prospects. We're going into a second phase of work with them where we about just shy of $500,000 worth of work. We'll be working with them and generating a new portfolio of projects and increased detail within that data set. We also, when we see opportunities within the data in areas that we're opening up that may not have been overlooked or unloved, We do pick up those assets, we do some work on them, we either farm them out or work with others to be able to explore those projects, and we do have our 100% owned tenements ourselves that we pursue when we see diamonds or potential upside within that group. If I can go to the next slide. Just quickly on the technology, what it is using all the advances in machine learning to be able to extract written information from reports, from maps, turn that into quantitative layers, be able to understand, reprocess geophysics, gravity, magnetics, be able to fuse those data sets with the geology, be able to train the computer to be able to take large quantitative data sets of geochemical surface information and drilling data sets and be able to build up what is a massive virtual body, full body scan of Western Australia, in looking at it in 2,500 different dimensions and the relationships between each of those areas and terrains. If I can go to the next slide. When we work out what a deposit looks like, what the fingerprint of a gold system and lithium system or nickel prospect, then we set our algorithms loose on our data cube, which is that massive scan of the continent, and we look for patterns within that data. One of the exciting things we're doing at the moment is putting all of that information on a cloud-based system. Currently, our technology works on a bespoke approach where we have the internal systems and within our Perth Technology Hub. Now we're putting on a cloud where our clients are going to be able to log in. They're going to be able to look at all of the different prospectivity layers, the predictions of targets within their areas, upload their own information, be able to manipulate and work with some of the data sets in 2 and 3D to be able to provide a one-stop shop for all data and targeting activities. And it's been really well received from our clients, but also from the general geologist and investor community to be able to access and interrogate data that they would never be able to have access to previously, or have the time to be able to clean, ingest and scrub all of that data for errors, which our system has been able to do. If I can go to the next slide. We just released some of our prospectivity maps to clients. These are images of the subsurface of Western Australia for the key commodities. And we've had a lot of uptake from gold, nickel, lithium and copper. This is obviously a very high zoom out of what you get, but working with clients to be able to image underneath sediment, underneath cover, that's been very difficult to be able to do, and with high precision. It's a learning system as well, so when clients collect more data, we can feed that back in as an opportunity to improve the predictive capacity of the system, and we know that it'll get better and better as we go forward. If I can go to the next slide. We've had recently been drilling some of our nickel and base metal projects, Munera out in the Nullarbor, Aurelia to the north, which is a joint venture with Chalice Mines. It's one of their large geophysical exploration targets. SensOre can earn up to 70% of the Aurelia project. We drilled the Munera project with WA government funding as well as funding from SensOre, and we've just picked up 2 new prospects, Scorpion and Jenkins, that are informed by the work we've done on nickel targeting with some of the majors. These are pretty exciting projects, big projects with lots of opportunity for upside, and we're looking forward to being able to talk about the results once we get assays. Like many companies, we've been affected by assay turnaround times in Perth and the boom in exploration that's been undertaken over the last few quarters. If I can go to the next slide. I want to talk a little bit about our lithium targeting. I know this is a pretty exciting use of the technology, where we've gone out and trawled through our information for looking for pegmatites, gone through some of the biggest geochemical databases across the state we've ever seen, to be able to rank fertility of lithium pegmatites to come up with a lithium pegmatite fertility index, and be able to recognize opportunities on open ground. Believe it or not, they still exist when you've got this access to this technology, and pursuing joint ventures with those projects. We will keep a 30% equity stake within that, funded by our own exploration and technology revenues. And we stand to earn $1 million in revenue and 2.8 million in revenue in contributions to exploration from Deutsche Rostoff and their Prime Lithium subsidiary out of Germany. Very supportive, very keen to get into what they see as an opportunity to be able to corner some of the best future lithium prospects in Australia. If I can go to the next slide. We've just, as I talked a bit about before, putting this information, this one-stop shop for all geoscience information on the cloud has been one of our objectives in the IPO. We formed a long-term alliance with CGI, which is a global software development and platform development group. We're looking at intelligent ways that we can improve the exploration workflow cycle, and we're looking at a 4-month build in that process before we go live with our beta version somewhere around Q3, Q4. I can go to the next slide. And the next slide. I just wanted to, I can see Tim coming in there in the screen. I just wanted to talk a bit about our exploration on our own assets. I guess we've been looking at the targets that have been generated, and we've been post-IPO, we've had those rigs testing the targets that we've got. We've got gold mineral systems in most of the targets, or almost all the targets that we've drilled to date. We put out a release about our Darlow prospect earlier last week, and this is a target that is just north of Red 5's operations. It's under about 200 meters of transported cover. There was no other reason for us to be able to look at that, and it was quite difficult to target in that region conventionally. The artificial intelligence pulled us to that area. It said that had multi-million ounce potential. We've drilled there, and in the air core, at the bottom of hole, we've got gold intercept, admittedly low, one meter at 1 gram, but this is air core straight into basement, and you don't often do that, particularly in blind drilling. We've been drilling at our Kalgoorlie prospect, Balagundi, air core there as well. Large, wide-spaced gold mineralization was intersected in our first pass drilling earlier in the year, and we've just been following up on that. The rig has just moved over to Maynard's Dam, just near St Ives, with our JV with Talk Metals, Jindalee Resources, and Lefroy. So we're in a very good, highly contested exploration area. We've got a great target there, and we're very excited about finally clearing our native title and land access and being able to get the drill rig on the ground there. If I can go to the next slide, and the next slide. And we've just finished the program at Eaglehawk. For those who know Great Boulder Resources, Mulga Bill discovery just to the north there. Our system loved Mulga Bill. We like what they're doing there as a group. We could only pick up at the time the southern part of that structure. We've just put those 3 lines across the DPT target in the dotted line outlook there. We're very excitedly waiting for the results to come back from that program. As you can see, that north-south structure has delivered some pretty exciting intercepts for Great Boulder, and we hope that that structure continues to be fertile much farther to the south. If I can just go to the last slide as well, I'll just wrap up very quickly. For SensOre, the value prospects that we've got, I guess the results from all of our drilling, we've been very active. We did a lot of preparation before the IPO to be able to get on the ground as soon as we raised the funds earlier in the year. We have moved ahead rapidly with the development of the technology and generating revenue on our bespoke client engagements. I mentioned Barton, Deutsche Rostov, BHP, DGO, etc. They continue to be very strong backers for the company. And a big milestone for us will be making this information all available publicly to clients and to people of interest in that area. So still moving ahead very quickly, but in a challenging market. And we think we've got some good news and very strong news flow to come. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Richard. A very challenging market, agreed. Mind you, you might have a potential client here. Can you talk through, wondering here whether your AI-based sensors can also help discovering geothermal resources as well?
Yeah, a lot of the processes we do around geology and mapping of the deep earth crust environment, and including targeting of water, we haven't processed that capability so far to date, but it's definitely when you're organizing all that geoscience information, and a lot of this technology was developed in the oil and gas space looking for energy resources as well. There is, I guess, many applications not only in for geothermal, but also in agriculture and other areas. But we think we have our hands full with some of the best commodities to be in terms of copper, nickel, lithium, and gold.
And you effectively use your own technology. I mean, you're kind of two businesses. You've got your own technology, and then you're basically mining these tenements if they come up to scratch according to your technology. Because there is two different business models, is there a risk to your kind of capital base in terms of being a miner as well as a technology company?
Yeah, we deal with this many times in exploration and in mining when we have two different assets that make sense to be together when you're small, and either be a gold project with a copper project, etc. When it makes sense to keep them together and we're learning between the technology and the exploration all of the time, the synergies between those two parts of the business are value accretive to us. As we get bigger, as you mentioned, there may be a point in time where the technology and the exploration assets make sense to be pursued independently. I don't think we're there at that point, but it's something that we keep on our radar as a board and as a company about streamlining the business model. But for me, and when I talk to investors, they love the prospect of a really strong commercial technology that's generating revenue, but also that opportunity when you see a diamond in the data to be able to pick it up, polish it, and maybe get that exponential upside from a wholly owned discovery under the belt as well.
It makes perfect sense, Richard. And just one last question. Can you talk about international growth plans? There's a question here.
Definitely. The US, I was just over at PDAC. There's a lot of appetite for this. We've got clients in the US who want to use our services. We're looking at Denver in the US as a base with a very significant technology and mining complement there. We've seen Cobalt, one of our competitors there, they raised 200 million on, I believe, a plus $1 billion valuation on a business that is, I guess, very similar to ours. The appetite for technology, at least prior to the recent market change, has been very strong. But there's a lot of money still in private hands over there that could help the company in the future, and definitely beyond the US into Europe and Scandinavia, where there are great data sets, lots of activity, mining countries where we can see that technology will open up more possibilities undercover.
Thanks, Richard. Fascinating story. Good luck out there. Nice to have you back on our webinar program, and we'll follow with interest. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, Tim.